Mumbai's Kandivali area. 3 months ago, open drains and garbage dotted its landscape. Today, with the help of civic bodies and local NGOs, its residents have not only been segregating waste since November, but now are also aiming to achieve zero waste through composting.
ये स्लम एक यूनिक स्लम इसके लिए हम लोग कहते हैं कि इसमें घर घर से एट सोर्स सेग्रीगेशन होता है। सूखा और गीला अलग अलग होता है। आप किससे बच्चों को भी पूछेंगे तो गीला कचरा क्या बताएंगे, आप सीनियर सिटीजन को पूछेंगे आप बताएंगे। यहाँ का लैंग्वेज प्रॉब्लम है, आप इनका तमिल या ऐसा लैंग्वेज उन लोगों का है, तो इनके साथ में बात करना है, उनको लैंग्वेज में जाके समझाना है, ये करना है। तो उनका जो द्विभाषी बोलता है उसको ढूंढना है, उनसे बात करना है। ये चैलेंज था हमारे लिए, तो लेकिन अभी लोग अच्छे इसमें ये आ रहे हैं।
The area generates about 100 kgs of wet waste every single day. The BMC has provided 2 separate boxes for segregating waste, white for dry waste and green for wet waste. Every house diligently separates the waste at source. The wet waste is then picked up and put into a nearby biocompost bin. A practice that is followed by all, including young children.
इतना गंदगी थे एरिया में, अभी इतना साफ किया गया है, तो सर ने इतना सारा हम लोग को सपोर्ट किया और मैडम ने आके हम लोग को इतना सारा सपोर्ट किया है कि हम लोग भी उनको कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ मिलके आज इतना साफ सुथरा है।
इतना अच्छा गाइड दिए ना दलवी साहब ने कि हमको कि इस तरीके से कंपोस्ट होता है, ये सब ऐसा अलग अलग करना चाहिए। इतना अच्छा गाइड किए थे और उसके बाद में हम लोग बताया, ऐसा हम लोग करने लगे।
तो हमें तो पहले बहुत प्रॉब्लम, उनसे झगड़ा भी हो गया, लेकिन अभी हमें पता चला कि ये सही बात है और वही बराबर है और हमें बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। हमारे लिए बहुत कुछ सुविधा की,
बहुत बदला है, बहुत साफ हुआ है। गीला कचरा और सूखा कचरा से अपना एरिया पूरा गंदे सीधा वो सब उन लोग ने साफ करके रखा है।
An uphill task at first to get everyone on board, but within only 3 months of training, the area has been transformed. A fact that didn't miss the attention of the Chief Minister himself.
अभी लोगों में पूरा अवेयरनेस हो गया कि गीला कचरा सूखा कचरा क्यों अलग करना है। वो यहाँ पे देखते हैं खुद, यहाँ पे लोग वॉलेंटरी सब काम करते हैं। फिर गीला कचरा जो है कभी कोई नहीं रहता है तो कभी एक्स्ट्रा जो उनका कचरा होता है वो खुद आके यहाँ पे डालते हैं। उनको बहुत सारी प्रोसेस अभी मालूम हो गई कि कचरे का खाद कैसे बनाना है। बच्चे हैं, बच्चे बहुत अच्छे से करते हैं। हर बच्चा यहाँ पे समझता है कि गीला कचरा क्या है, सूखा कचरा क्या है। वो अपने घर में अलग अलग रखने में उनके मम्मी को हेल्प करते हैं यहाँ पे।
The BMC has been facing a major problem of disposing the garbage generated in the city. Currently, its 3 garbage dumps handle at least 7,000 metric tons of waste. The civic body believes that waste segregation at source and composting will bring down the waste at the dumping ground by at least 5,000 metric tons. It also hopes that such stories inspire others to follow their example.
The people are feeling that this area is their own area, and once that feeling is created among them, then that magic happens.
Currently standing in the Bhadran Nagar area of Kandivali here in Mumbai, and these are the 2 boxes that have been given and kept in front of every house in this basti, which is known as the Madras Basti or Madras Chawl. And this is a very old chawl, about 70 to 80 years old. And very recently, in just 3 months of time, the residents of this area have managed to do something that for years it was not being done, and that is how to segregate waste and also how to compost the wet waste in a pit that they have made in the nearby area. And just 3 to 4 months back, the condition of this area was extremely pathetic, but with a little effort both by the local residents here as well as the NGO who's working with it, it has been successful to make this area not just clean but also to make every person in this area aware about the importance as well as the need to segregate waste here in Mumbai. This is Richa Sharma for Mirror Now here in Mumbai.
cosmic energy drives my heart. All living forms are self-generating expressions of this energy. Empowered by this force, they are self-propagating systems. They are evolving systems in their own right. Man, the most evolved manifestation of this energy on earth, touches all other life forms. From monocellular fungi, through plant life, microbes, insects, birds, fishes, reptiles, and animal life. All life indeed is interdependent. Creation is the glorious expression of the Almighty Source. High Media touches creation in all these forms. With tender care, we assist regeneration. We assist identification. We assist sustenance of life through our biosciences research. For life is sacred. Life is to be revered. For life is precious. High Media scientists have evolved systems and products that answer the needs of global fellow researchers, their needs for their research into life sciences, our cell culture labs. Our molecular biology labs, microbiology labs, our dedicated production facilities enable world-class, leading-edge products with highest quality parameters. Our global technical support ensures that our customers get ample satisfaction in using the fruits of our cutting-edge research. Production facilities located in the pristine purity of Nashik Hills. Operate under strict ISO and WHO GMP protocols. These ultra-modern facilities are a feather in the cap of High Media. They are intimately geared to the user's needs. bulk raw materials plant. Social awareness. Donating the high-tech, fully functioning skin regeneration laboratory to the National Burn Center, along with training modules, and helping rural children's education at Isha Vidya are spiritually elevating pursuits. The caring and sharing culture they establish among the staff is the rewarding experience indeed. Information technology. The information technology team at High Media enables information flow. Marketing. Marketing and distribution covers about 150 countries globally. Global marketing and on-time delivery of state-of-the-art products at the user's doorstep are handled by a team of well-trained professionals. High Media LLC in the USA stock products for quick deliveries in that region. Visiting technical directors interact with High Media's field force in the US and in Europe on a continuous basis. Awards. Seamless quality awareness at every step has won admirers everywhere. Receiving India's highest quality award twice is a rare feat by any standard. The global scientific community and overseas partners have entrusted a leadership role in High Media. Our dedicated researchers are fully geared up to answer this call. Our vision for the future of a healthy humankind rests on our philosophy of a sound relationship between all life forms. Mother Earth, who has sheltered all life under her benign wings, must be protected. We at High Media respect life. Life is to be honored. Life is to be celebrated. Life is to be adored. For life is precious.
सर बोल रहे दे दो नाम राजेश रामकृष्णन बुक
मॅडम अजून आपले ओरल आणि पोस्टरचं येत आहेत थोडं सॉर्टिंग बाकी आहे.
ओके मग आता चीफ गेस्ट आणि पीव्हीसी सरांचं काय?
चीफ गेस्ट आणि
पीव्हीसी सर हा
चालू करा मी जॉईन होतो.
किती वाजता? 6:15.
हा म्हणजे ते 10 मिनिटात जॉईन होत आहेत बट ते म्हटलं की यू कंटिन्यू.
अच्छा आणि
बोली 6:15 को चालू करेंगे.
अच्छा और वैशाली मैडम कब ज्वाइन करेगी? 6:15.
6:15 हाँ.
Okay, so when do we start? 6:15.
6:15 will start.
Okay, it
yes,
is 10 minutes.
2 or 3, 1 to OP was remaining. So that is why we are just 2 minutes late.
Because OP declaration is towards the end, na, by Garje sir. So the result can be handed over to him. We will start at 6:15. Hello?
Okay. Yes.
Huh? 2 only is remaining, na? The results of that consolidated result can be handed over by the coordinator of that room, of that session to Garje sir, and final result declaration of e-poster and oral presentation Garje sir will anyway do after all the speeches, na, towards the end, isn't it Garje sir? Towards the end, na?
Yes. But the एक दोन रूमचे प्रेझेंटेशन बाकी होते but I think now it is over.
Okay, तो 6:15 ला मग
सुरू
करूया. Yeah, okay, fine.
Partha sir, any rooms presentations are going on?
No sir, all are over.
Okay. Then we will start.
All over? Auditorium 1 to 5 all over?
Yes.
Okay. Garje sir, what about Pillai sir, our chief guest? Pillai, Dr. Professor
Chief guest,
Pillai.
he has confirmed. He has confirmed.
So what time he will join?
He'll be actually time given us 5:50. So
Huh.
I will ask Bamboli madam to call him.
Please, so that we can all join in. And by
I have I
6:50,
have I have forwarded the new link also to him.
can you call him? You need to remind him probably.
I think your number is with Bumble ma'am. I'll
Please,
just call
please.
Bumble ma'am. Yeah.
Ha.
Bamboli madam.
We'll remain.
So
Yes, ma'am. You are mute.
सुदेश आपलं सिक्वेन्स आता
Yes, sir.
चेंज झाली आहे. So
Yes.
sequence is changed. सर गुड इव्हिनिंग. आपले चीफ गेस्ट अजून जॉईन झालेले नाहीत. ते झाले की आपण सुरू करू.
गरजेचं सुरू झालंय का?
नाही सर, अजून चीफ गेस्ट आपले आले नाहीत. एक 6:15च्या सुमारास सुरू करू आपण.
ठीक आहे.
एक सेकंड अटैच करो इसमें सर प्लीज जॉइन सर Yeah, 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 fine. No, yes, yes, no issues. Yeah, ऐसा फोन हाँ जी बोलो हेलो हेलो बोलो हेलो
One Mumbaiker has successfully convinced a suburban locality in Mumbai to completely ban plastic, setting an example for the rest of the city to follow. Shonil Damarwala reports.
43-year-old BMC engineer Subhash Dalvi can't forget. 26 July 2005, stuck in torrid rains for over 10 hours. Dalvi came to the conclusion that plastic was the reason the city almost drowned. And although Mumbai may not entirely be plastic-free, today Dalvi has ensured that his area of Vileparle East leads the way for the rest of the city to follow.
ये लाइव एग्जांपल पार्ला में है जहां 50 माइक्रोन 100 माइक्रोन कुछ नहीं कोई भी माइक्रोन की प्लास्टिक बैग जो है कैरी बैग जो है हमारा भाजी वाला कोई नहीं देता है
A one-man green army, Dalvi has successfully managed to convert vendors and residents of this area. The transformation was sealed after Dalvi revealed the results of his shocking survey that over 1,000 plastic bags are used per family in 1 year. That means Mumbai's population in total generates a whopping 300 crore tons of non-degradable plastic waste. Dalvi also points out that while a plastic bag costs 1.5 rupees, its eco-friendly substitute paper costs a mere 30 paise, making it more cost-effective for vendors.
Paper, it takes 2 weeks. And plastic takes 350 years. So that will lie down anywhere, everywhere.
In case you forget to get your own carry bag, there's no need to worry. Just stop at one of these deposit centers and you can get your own bag for a mere 10 rupees.
This market makes going green look easy. In Mumbai, Shonil Damarwala.
बंबोली मॅडम आपले चीफ गेस्टला एक फोन करा ना सरांना
सर सर कुठून तरी चालत आपल्या रूम मध्ये जात आहे त्यांनी मला 2 मिनिटाची वेळ मागितली सर पायी पायी चालत ते कुठे रूमवर कम्प्युटरवर जाऊन बसते त्यांनी 2 मिनिटं मागितले
इधर किधर जा रहा है एक्सेल में कौन सी दुनिया में जा रहा है
नहीं एक्सेल में नहीं ढूंढ रहा
वो जान दे उनका वो उसका मेरे को मार्क्स मत बता पहले हमारी शक्ल दिखने दे ऑन मत कर शक्ल बस इतने ही दिखते रहे बस वो सर ज्वाइन होंगे वो दिखने चाहिए ना
वैशाली मैम म्यूट योरसेल्फ
Hello? Okay. Yes. No, no, not like this. You are in the show. No? Everyone can see. Yeah, okay.
Big screen.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Can you start, ma'am?
Yes, sir. PVC, sir, can we start? PVC, sir, can we start?
Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. So sorry for the delay in the program. Good evening to one and all. I, Dr. Sudesh Manjre, on behalf of the entire organizing team of International Conference on Sustainability, Integrated and Scientific Approach, ICS 2022, University of Mumbai, welcome all the dignitaries and participants from industry and academia to the valedictory function. This is an immensely exciting evening for all of us. In the last 3 days, we have witnessed active participation and immense enthusiasm, which affirm the relevance and meaningfulness of this conference. I'm sure it was full of new learnings and enlightenment for all of you. I would now like to request the convener of the conference, Professor Vaishali Bambole, to share her remark regarding the conference. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, you are
Madam,
mute. Ma'am, you are
unmute.
mute. Please unmute yourself.
So, good evening to one and all. Honorable Chief Guest of the valedictory function, Professor V.N.R. Pillai, sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, Professor Suhas Pednekar. Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ravindra Kulkarni. Dean Science and Technology, Madam, Dr. Anuradha Mazumdar. And my entire conference team. I've been asked to do this pleasant job of putting forward before you the report of the 3 days of ICS 2022, which is the International Conference on Sustainability, Scientific and Integrated Approach. I'm very glad that we chose the theme of sustainability for our conference. It touches everybody's life. This was the very reason that all the department of University of Mumbai, including the finance department, joined hands to work as a team. Top academician institutions like IIT, ICT, BARC, TIFR, VJTI, and many other institutes from the city and other places participated wholeheartedly. Government institutions, public sectors, BMC, MMRD, and top officials from MNCs like BSF, Clariant, High Media, Aditya Birla, Grok Learning, they gave their presentation and also they supported us financially. Thus, the approach was truly scientific as well as integrated, justifying the name in true sense. As Ban Ki-moon has said, and I quote, "We are the last generation that can take steps to avoid the worst impact of climate change," unquote. Hence, the deliberation on sustainability is very urgent and relevant for the entire scientific community today. During the last 3 days, we have witnessed two brilliant presentations from renowned experts from India and abroad, covering all the 17 sustainability goals. I am proud to announce that this is the first integrated conference that University of Mumbai has organized on virtual augmented platform, streaming across 7 halls simultaneously. The conference got phenomenal response. We could air 18 plenary talks, 90 invited talks, 105 oral presentations, and 120 poster presentation over the last 3 days. All sessions were live and can be viewed at leisure on various social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Overall, there were about 25,000 attendees at a time who witnessed and experienced the conference in virtual and augmented reality. I feel very proud to be the part of highly dynamic and enthusiastic team that came together from multiple disciplines and collaborated seamlessly to bring together the best of panelists and speakers internationally for the best of our participants. I am personally indebted to Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, who gave us this gift of friendship and companionship between all the departments of University of Mumbai. It was his insistence that all the departments should come together and collaborate as a team. Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ravindra Kulkarni, always stood as the backbone of the conference. ICS 2022 is the brainchild of our own Dr. Anuradha Muzumdar, who is the Dean and Science and Technology of University of Mumbai. My co-convener, Professor Garje, whom we are now calling him as fondly as Big Boss, has been my companion throughout this proceedings of the conference. ICS 2022 has set the ball rolling. We are unstoppable now. The entire team of ICS 2022 and on high public demand, we wish to have it every year as series. I am quoting Honorable Professor Bhushan Patwardhanji, who said that early warning but lessons learned late. With a promise to act now and not get late, we hope that the recommendations that have been derived from this conference will offer the participants a fresh perspective towards sustainability and also on saving our environment. With these words, I wrap up and I thank you all of you for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now request Dr. Anuradha Muzumdar, Dean Science and Technology, University of Mumbai, to brief us on the scientific sessions of the conference. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, sir. It is a privilege, and I'm very enthused after these 3 days conference to give the takeaways of the conference. We didn't want this to be a one-off activity, and we wanted our living to be based on sustainable living with the aim and objective of sustainable development. So, ladies and gentlemen, a few takeaways from our side, which I tried to collate throughout the proceedings of the 3-day conference. Professor Bambole already told that it was very successful. Extensive brainstorming presentation across the 17 verticals of SDGs, which has been promulgated by the United Nations. So, my dear students and ladies and gentlemen, we are at the tail end of the scientifically and academically stimulating as well as thought-provoking International E-Conference on Sustainability, very aptly conjoined the words integrated and scientific approach. In a nutshell, if we see what transpired, what we discussed about is the sustainability is a tool. It's associated with conserving and maintenance of our dear planet, our mother planet, Earth, and its resources, including its habitats and life forms. Improving the quality of life of mankind and also the life of other species which cohabitat with us, both flora and fauna. Taking cognizance of the carbon emission, the greenhouse gases, which is leading to global warming and climate change. We have to take into cognizance the fact that it is, if we approach it by the integrated and systems approach, they are all interdependent and they affect each other. So they cannot be viewed as mutually exclusive. They have to be integrated while we are dealing with the challenges and we are mitigating and also provisioning for sustainable development. The positives of this conference is what we saw is whether it is corporates, industries, academia, scientists, community, students, government and non-government, they are all working towards adapting and adopting sustainable practices and policies. So that means we are on the path. We do not have much years. We have 8 years to go to achieve the SDG goals. We need to realize that we need to attain, as I said, the 17 prescribed goals of United Nations by 2030, not for development or for economic growth. We are already in the trajectory of economic growth, but for survival and existence, as Honorable Professor Bhushan Patwardhan said, on this planet, our planet Earth, the blue dot in the cosmos, as said by Carl Sagan in his series. This applies to earth resources, and all life forms, which includes humans. We are intellectually higher life forms, so the onus of responsibility is on us. If studied well with intent, the 7 SDG goals of United Nations encompasses all sectors and is a comprehensive vision and mission to conserve earth and all that we have received from the earth. It is also meant for sustenance of life. Honorable, our keynote speaker, Padma Vibhushan, Professor R.A. Mashelkar said, a sustainable world is an equitable world. So, my dear friends, let's not drain, exhaust, deplete, pollute the earth and its resources. Let us save and maintain it for the generations to come. Let's at this moment at least aim that this pristine form for those who would live in the 22nd century, 100 years hence, so that we leave it as it is in a better manner, in a better state. Let them further live on this beautifully endowed planet and so on the further generations. You have to realize, we all need to realize, nobody else will save our planet. We all have to contribute in saving our planet. The Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Ji Modi said, and I quote, the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities is the bedrock of our enterprise for a sustainable world. So that means we need to realize that each of us, whether student, whether academician, whether a common citizen, has a contribution towards sustainable living and sustainable development. He delivered the national statement at the COP26 conference recently in Glasgow, Scotland, where he announced the Panch Amrit Tattva, that is the Panchamrit Tattva. Among the key announcements, he said that the country would strive to achieve net zero emission by 2070. He said that half of the country's energy requirement would be met by using renewable sources by 2030. And we saw so many lectures on other forms of energy, whether solar, whether hydrogen. And we all saw that the earnest attempt by the government to transform into the electric vehicles, whether buses, whether cars, whether other forms and sizes of vehicles, and also to have pool travel, so that we are living more in a green manner when we go for public transport. So we all should contribute towards sustainability in our present role as student, teacher, scientist, or any other professional. The key takeaways which I felt amongst all the lectures, plenary, keynote, and other invited speakers: sustainability is a tool. Self-policing and mindfulness is an important factor in adapting and adopting to a sustainable lifestyle and sustainable practices. This applies to both at an individual level and also at an organizational level. Need is only what we need to meet, and not the greed and the consumeristic society which we have built, and the thought processes which we have built, the psyche which we have built. The earlier days, even till the 1970s, 80s, people used to live in a simple manner, and that was a sustainable way of living. Mindfulness of the carbon footprints that we generate as individuals in a day, in a year, and also what our organization is generating. Carbon offsetting. How do we do carbon offsetting? Because we know it's linked to greenhouse gases and climate change because of global warming. Increased renewable energy use like solar, like windmill, like others, hydrogen, etc. Carbon sequestration, improve our green cover, find ways or means. We know the principle of mass balance. So carbon sequestration is the key. Decrease carbon emission in a consolidated approach. Net zero, which Modi ji also mentioned in his speech in Glasgow, is a climate positive or climate neutral policy which will need infrastructural changes, technologies, processes, and practices. I remember in between I was in Ahmedabad, in Modera temple. It's an ancient temple. Outside there were so many units for buses to charge itself, electrical buses. So that is the kind. So infrastructure is required to go green in our policies and our transport and all other sectors. More clean air initiatives needs to be needs to be started at an organization level, at a state level. Hybrid working for controlling emission. Now, let us take this example of our conference. We are working on virtual mode. Leave aside the economics and the costs. We are reducing the carbon footprint of the entire conference calculated. And that is what hybrid way of half the days companies are allowing employees nowadays, if permissible, if the work demands or and it is its limitations, to work 3 days from home and 3 days come to office, or 2 days come to office, and it is being very rampantly adopted by IT sector companies. So that also will help in reducing the carbon footprint as an overall policy. Circular economy, that is a buzzword, very important. Earlier days we were not using so much, where recycling was required. Nowadays we are using so much of plastic, polymers, and so many things which needs waste, solid waste, immense amounts of solid waste. Today's newspaper had headlines about the sewage treatment plants getting the go ahead, the letter of intent gone from BMC, solar panels being installed. So there was so many positive in today's Times of India when I opened it in the morning. This is what is required: no waste or minimum waste generation, waste recycling or management, and recyclable or recycling is the buzzword in circular economy. What you and me should take away here is, what can I do as a student, or whatever role you are playing as on today in your professional and societal life? As an academician, I think I should sensitize my students to sustainability concerns, challenges, and lifestyle. I think Mumbai University and others should adopt, either through MOOCs or other, this 2-credit compulsory course on sustainability and existence. It is now revolving around, around our very existence of us, mankind, and other species, and the entire ecosystem of Earth, the only planet we know which is habitable. Field work, we should give more field work, so the pulse of the environment, of nature, of what your professional this needs, the students are aware. Internships, apprenticeships, and I think this will help in addressing the challenges. Students should know what are the problems in this sector. Yesterday we had a beautiful panel discussion which was moderated by Dr. Aparna Phadke, and I have made a few lines because it was attended by bureaucrats who are aware of what is the main happenings now. So Nidhi Chaudhary, the district collector, said that mangroves grow over the period of 100 years. 100 years for an entire, grove of mangroves to be ready, which acts as a cushion to buffer, any kind of climatic changes in the coastal region. 2005 was the importance of, during the flooding, the 26 July flooding, the importance of mangroves was recognized in flash floods, in torrential rains, and various administrative and legal moves were initiated by the government. The Indian Forest Act 1927, Forest Conservation Act 1980, Coastal Regulations Zone 2011, Environmental Protection Act 1886 emerged instrumental over the years in preserving mangroves as reserved forest. The government has identified 392 hectares of land for development of mangroves. At Gorai and Dahisar, which is now happening, mangrove parks have been planned to safeguard mangroves and sensitize the masses about it. Dr. Sangeeta Hasnale from BMC, the Assistant Municipal Commissioner, gave a review and an insight into the Mumbai Climate Action Plan 2020. She highlighted various issues and problems faced by Mumbai as a city, like temperature variations in the microclimates as high as 5 degrees Celsius. Let's say, for example, between Dharavi and Matunga. Matunga is cooler to Dharavi by 5 degrees. She also emerged with discussion on various commitments of MCGM, which has been set up for its 2050 goals, like net zero emission, renewable energy use, and green efforts. Professor Eldo from IIT Mumbai established a link between Mumbai floods with inefficient drainage system. We saw during the 26 July deluge 2005, how when the quantum of rain is high, Mumbai is not able to drain, clear the excess water, especially because Mithi River is very much predominantly determined by the tides, the high tide. If it's a high tide moment, the water doesn't drain. And that's a serious concern, which is a structural concern of Mumbai city. So high tides, blockage of natural passages by use of excessive plastic waste, which is littered around, and haphazard urban development are the main culprits for deluges and flooding, which we have witnessed in the city of Mumbai. Dr. Prasad Karnik, who represented an NGO, discussed the role of NGO in climate action by discussing the contribution of Paryavaran Dakshata Mandal in Clean Creek movement, which has been working extensively in Thane, in the Thane Creek for the last 15 years. Mr. Kalyan Tangsale, who is a person with expertise in systems thinking with respect to sustainability, highlighted the perspective of systems thinking for climate action by proposing that all systems are embedded and nested. So it cannot be looked at silos within Mumbai. The way we are thinking about climate action plan. They are all interdependent, they are all integrated, one concentric circle within the other. So while planning, we need to keep the collective action feedback loop for a stronger outcome of the MCAPS 2020. He further said for operational aspects of MCAP, we need to come up with a decentralized, participative approach starting at the ward level in Mumbai with a REVA application. What does REVA stand for? Risks, exposures, vulnerability, and adaptation. What he intended to say is that we should focus more on the structure, the Mumbai structure, urban planning, others, drainage system, etc., and adaptation for better mitigation and resilience. So our focus should be on adaptation. Automatically, mitigation and resilience will happen. My dear delegates, esteemed dignitaries over here, let us all continue in the path of sustainable living, simple living. Gandhiji used to say, simple living, high thinking, which we should follow. And the individual needs, if they are not taken care of, if you are not greedy, half of the battle is won at an individual level, because the more consumeristic we are, we increase our carbon footprint either directly or indirectly. And let us work towards sustainable practices and look for sustainable development. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. The ball has been set rolling, as Professor Bambole said, and we will all continue to work towards it, irrespective of whatever role we are playing currently in society. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fortunate to have amongst us Dr. V.N. Rajshekaran Pillai as our chief guest today. I would request our conference convener and Associate Dean, Science and Technology, University of Mumbai, Professor Shivram Garje, to kindly introduce our chief guest to the audience. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Manjare. It's my great privilege to introduce today's chief guest, Professor V.N. Rajshekaran Pillai, who is popularly known as VNR Pillai. He is the Vice Chancellor of Somaya Vidyavihar University, Mumbai, and also Chancellor of ICFI University, Tripura. He has been at the helm of affairs of many higher educational and scientific research establishments for over a period of 50 years. He has played a role as a teacher, as a researcher, professor, and executive head of education, science, and technology establishments in the country and abroad. An elected fellow of Indian Academy of Sciences, Professor Rajshekaran Pillai is one of the top cited chemistry researchers in the country. He created an internationally renowned research group in the area of polymer science, that is his area of specialization, and he has produced more than 60 doctoral and postdoctoral researchers who have been trained under his direct supervision at various universities like Calicut, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, University of Tübingen, and University of Mainz, Germany. He was also a visiting research professor at the University of Lucerne, Switzerland. Top executive positions which he has occupied, which include like vice chairmanship and chairmanship of UGC, that is University Grants Commission, Government of India, Executive Director of the National Assessment Accreditation Council, as we know it is popularly known as NAC, Government of India, and also Vice Chancellor of India, IGNOU, that is Indira Gandhi National Open University. There are more positions to his credit, like a chairman of Distance and Education Council, Government of India, Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, that is Kerala, and Vice Chancellor of Cochin University of Science and Technology, again Kerala, Executive Vice President of Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, ex-officio Principal Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of Kerala again, Chairman of the Kerala Coastal Zone Management Authority, which comes under the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India, Chairman of the Kerala Biotechnology Commission, and after superannuation, he has been again performing at various places. He is working President of New Delhi NCR-based Civil Service Organization, Human Development Foundation India, since 2015. He was there for a long period as a director board of Apollo Group of Hospitals and board of several academic and research establishments in the country and abroad. So we have very renowned person and with a very large experience, long experience, and who has a diverse experience in various fields. So I now request Professor V.N. Rajgopalan Pillai to deliver his chief guest address. So Pillai sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me thank the Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, and the convener, Professor Vaishali, for extending me an invitation to participate in this very important conference organized by the Mumbai University, involving all its departments and several other governmental and non-governmental organizations. The topic of these 3-day deliberations were maybe integrated and scientific approach for sustainable development. When it comes to sustainable development, and when it comes to a conference organized by an higher educational institutions in that perspective, we have to just look at the education for sustainable development as a key area of intervention of academic institutions. The 3 pillars of sustainability are economy, society, and the environment. These are the 3 pillars of sustainability. In a popular way, it can be put as profit, people, and planet, the 3 Ps. So, of course, I heard the summary of the conference. I also heard just now the lecture from the Dean Faculty of Science and Technology. You have covered very, very prominent areas in these 3 days, and I will be just highlighting a few points on education for sustainable development. Education is for enhancing the quality of life and life management systems. When you say the quality of life, it is not the quality of life of the human being only, the quality of life of the entire, whether now we say entire planet, but probably we have to say the entire planets. That is the way things are going to come. We are also going out of the planet and then trying to establish systems over there, even living systems over there. And we also do not know the extra-planetary things in a very significant way as of now. So we have to just look at life in its entirety, and education has a great role in enhancing the quality of life and life management systems. So when we say life management systems, without thinking sustainability in a holistic perspective, we cannot ever sustain our life in the planet. Of course, we define several things as for sustainability. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are there. There have been several chains established for education for sustainable development. We have the recently the hydrogen policy, or it is not just hydrogen policy, it is hydrogen versus hydrogen, or in brackets ammonia oblique ammonia policy. Because looking at, I'm a chemistry teacher basically. We studied the ammonia production as one, that is the most revolutionary chemical reaction in the history of mankind, because the entire fertilizers, pharmaceuticals industry, all these things are based on the Fritz-Haber process, nitrogen plus 3, N2 plus 3H2 giving NH3 molecule and for other things. So even this production of ammonia is being questioned. I mean, the process of the production of ammonia is being questioned. Now, how we can just look at new ways of producing ammonia and sustaining ammonia in the sustaining nitrogen in the soil. All these things are happening in a very big way. So this hydrogen policy, which we have adopted in February 2022, it is going to be a very great game changer in the in sustainable development, whether it be in sustainable agriculture, sustainable farming, and sustainable even production of chemicals and pharmaceuticals. It is going to make a very great impact. And in this connection, probably an agricultural country like India, where we have to just look at sustainability in terms of the agriculture and farming base. Regenerative agriculture is all about holistic land management. Farmers employ techniques that give back to the land other than take away from it. Building on the high quality of the soils, keeping nutrients, particularly nitrogen-based nutrients maximum in the soil. These are all ways of sustainable development and sustainable regenerative agriculture. We talk about, we are all committed towards reducing the carbon footprint. We talk about carbon dioxide sequestration, and even in the soil, how to preserve carbon dioxide. All these things we are talking about. But if we just look at the nutrients, probably we have to think about the nitrogen-based nitrogen fixation in a very, very scientific way. A lot of research is going on in these areas also. And then the renewable energy, clean energy, we have to just look at the various examples. Earlier it was mentioned about the solar energy, wind energy, and also looking at nuclear energy in a very, very, very different perspective. Look at energy conservation, and probably physicists, chemists, biologists, social scientists, all of us have to work together for attaining the lofty and the most necessary goals of sustainable development. It is high time that we have to think about all these things. So when it comes to education institutions, how we can intervene into such areas, because we are providing knowledge and skills. That is the thing which we are doing in our education institutions. For what purpose the knowledge and skills are provided? For enhancing the quality of quality of life and life management. But if you want to really enhance the quality of life, you should also understand the context of the knowledge and skills. The context of the knowledge and skills varies from time to time, varies from place to place. It is very dynamic in nature. And therefore, understanding the context of whatever we teach, whatever we do with our hands, and whatever we do, whatever research we do, we have to understand the context of it in a holistic perspective. And in the analysis of the context, we have to just look at maybe we are all individual scientists, maybe social scientists, political scientists, legal experts, industrialists. So we have to put our heads together for understanding the real context of the knowledge and skills which we are imparting in education institutions. That will definitely give a holistic understanding of the development, holistic understanding of the So this has to happen right from the school education. Right from the school education, probably we can see that the large number of people who are not that educated in quotation, probably they know more about the importance of the context. Now, when it comes to fragmented education, we can see that many people, many students leave the education institutions without understanding even the context of the limited subjects they are understanding. But that this we have to definitely address this particular issue. That is why education for sustainable development is going to be a big contributor in these things. And we have to just think about it is not just separated in different compartmentalized education. We have to just look at social sciences, culture, tradition, all these things. And then we have to look at the traditional ways of living also. Earlier it was highlighted, traditional ways of living. Look at the whole world. We can see that the traditional knowledge systems are very prominent in agriculture, in healthcare. Very prominent traditional activities are going on. If you just look at the total healthcare systems and agricultural practices world over, you can see that even now 70 to 80% of the people, particularly in the Asian and African countries, even now 70 to 80% of the people are relying on traditional development patterns, traditional agriculture, traditional healthcare, traditional seed preservation, traditional forest preservation, all these things. When we say traditional, it is it is not pseudoscience or anything. We just look at how the ways we have been respecting the various plants. Ways not even a single plant or anything small. It will have its own value in preserving the life of each and every species in the country, each and every species in the world. And therefore, we should understand the interconnectedness among the living species. And this is very important. Earlier, probably this was all taught as some sort of religious practices, but the interconnectedness is very important in biology, in sciences, in humanities. So in this interconnectedness of living species. When I say living species, it's not only animals, plants, everything. Animals, plants, soil, air, water, this interconnectedness. This interconnectedness we have been practicing traditionally. We also probably try to understand by analysis, we try to understand all these inter things, but we have to put them again together in a holistic understanding, and the mindset and the culture of our activities has to be in a very holistic way interconnected. And that is where education institutions can play a great role. Right from school education, college education, university education, and research, we have to think about that holistic approach, whether it be in production, whether it be in synthesis or analysis, or separating all these things. We have to just look at how they were connected, how we can reunion. These are if you just look at biology, the ecology, some environmental sciences, the physical sciences like chemistry, mathematical understanding of the systems. All these things are going to contribute to really understand, really analyze the holistic pattern of our life. And if we have that type of understanding, I am sure that the Earth will be the Earth and our planet, and maybe even other planets will be a much more a pleasant place to live in the years to come. And the very purpose of looking at sustainability is we have to exist, we have to develop. Along with our own existence and the current development, We have to ensure that the future generations also exist and future generation also develop. And therefore, I have gone through the posters, I have gone through the presentations which you have made. I think this is a right thinking, and you are thinking of continuing these deliberations in the years, in future years also. Let me congratulate the university and each and everyone who has participated in this important conference. I am sure that the deliberations of this conference will come as action points, because you know that in all our activities, I used to say that we know the problems, we also know the solutions. We know that if we apply the solutions, the systems will improve. But when it comes to these applications, we are rather not very good. So everything should not remain in theory and understanding. We should jump into practice. And it is high time for a field like sustainable development, for protecting the planet, we have to be all in action. And this conference will be one among the facilitators, probably impulses, which will contribute to sustainable development. Let me wish the deliberations all success. Let me congratulate each and every one of you for this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words about this conference. Now, I would like to invite chairperson of today's function, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, Professor Ravindra Kulkarni, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Sudesh, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, clearly.
Okay, thank you. The chief guest of valedictory function of the international conference, Professor Pillai, sir, Honorable Professor Pillai, the Dean of Science and Technology, Professor Anuradha Muzumdar, the convener of function, overall conference, Dr. Vaishali and Professor Vaishali and Professor Garje, Sudesh, all my dear colleagues, and the participants of this conference. Today, climate change is one of the most important phenomena the entire world is facing, which has really presenting serious challenges towards the sustainability of a mankind, and that is how the term climate emergency is being coined. The climate change or climate emergency has not only impacted on various economic aspects, whether you talk about agricultural output or whether you talk about the productivity or turnover in industries. So you do find negative impacts of the climate emergency on various economic sectors, but at the same time, we are coming across the negative changes, negative trends because of climate emergency in terms of its influence on biodiversity, its anomalies in various natural systems such as oceans, leading to intensification of flood, cyclonic conditions, shifting of wind belts, and likewise. Particularly in Mumbai, we have witnessed sometimes in heavy rain, sometimes the Konkan belt is coming across cyclonic conditions. So that is primarily because of climatic emergency. Ironically, these climatic emergency changes are not once, they are repeating, they are periodic, and they hit back the global climate adversely to finally put a toll on life, property, and economy. And this makes sustainable developments through going green, through going and adopting sustainable practices more relevant in current context. And it is with this context, the organization of conference by our science department of University of Mumbai under the convenership of Professor Vaishali and Professor Garje, and under the guidance of Professor Anuradha, Dean Science and Technology becomes more important and more significant, and that is how they deserve real congratulations for the grand success of the conference organized over last 3 days. We had really stalwarts as speakers whose speech has enlightened the audience and really stressed upon the importance of adopting a scientific and integrated approach, typically in terms of sustainable development, in terms of technologies that are leading to sustainable development, in terms of the green chemistry that are following the different principles of the green chemistry, and likewise. In fact, if you look at the government initiatives at national level and probably when you look at international level, either, okay, one is like we are getting probably a continuous targets on going for carbon neutral, and government of India has definitely set a target for carbon neutral, going carbon neutral, and accordingly planning uh, the energy policies. Like our honorable chief guest has just talked about green hydrogen, whereby the center has recently, like in month of March, April, have announced green hydrogen policy, promising cheaper renewable power, fee waiver for interstate power transmission for 25 years for project commissioned before June 2025, and probably land in renewable energy parks and mega manufacturing zones to help local industries so that they can get rid of fossil fuels. In April, Indian Oil Corporation, Larsen and Toubro (L&T), and Renew Power announced a joint venture to develop green hydrogen. Besides that, we understand that in 2010 itself, Government of India has launched National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climatic Change under the initiative of National Action Plan on Climate Change. Recently, okay, three ministries: Ministry of Earth Sciences, Ministry of Science and Technology, and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. These three ministries are coming together so as to form a consortium for the climate related policy. This particular initiative is more important because when we talk about scientific and integrated approach, what is required is to have avoid repetition, and what is required is to have a like a concise efforts, so that there would have been a joint efforts in terms of developments of the technology, in terms of the policies, in terms of the energy initiatives, in terms of the sustainable practices by these three ministries. And it's a matter of pride that like University of Mumbai probably is trying to play an important role in this direction through establishment of a center for Center of Studies for Climate Change and Sustainable Development Practices. In fact, going with the announcement by United Nations, the United Nations has proclaimed the decade 2021-2030 as the decade of ocean science for sustainable development. And we have Center of Excellence in Marine Studies, and that is how, in tune with this dedicated ocean decade, it is required to promote and channelize oceanographic research for devising methods for sustainable exploitation of ocean resources and protecting marine environment. The Center of Excellence in Marine Studies is probably working towards that. The probably in reference to Center for Climate Change and Sustainable Climate Change Studies and Sustainable Development, we in fact the university in support with MCGM and one NGO has organized a startup activity, and accordingly two startup activities primarily related to the recycle of wastewater into said its transformation into water which can be used at least for gardening, okay, for specifically for Kalina campus, has been identified, and that startup has started working in that direction. And so probably we are going for the not only, of course, we have already the Ayurvedic garden, the Palm Beach garden, but in addition, we are going for reclamation of the particularly said the lake, and simultaneously going for beautification of that lake and probably covering the surrounding area with medicinal plants. So that's probably one way so as to look after sustainable development practice. But in long term, we understand that like if you go by a 2014 report by Rani Zadhav committee, okay, say probably the report has presented fear of submergence threat to South Mumbai, and probably the Fort campus being part of South Mumbai. Okay, we are equally required to be prepared so as to take up right research in the direction of preventing the submergence threat. Of course, one of the ways to go for sustainable development practices, so that will work in a long-term preventing mode, and at the same time, we are required to undertake several efforts.
I was waiting here.
Is there an issue?
No, sir. We can hear you very clearly.
Acha, I thought someone talking. So really, we while talking about the submergence threat, the center has started planning research area in multiple in on a multiple fronts itself, and so soon probably we will be able to at least achieve one target or mission maybe by 2026. Looking at several efforts from the governmental, non-governmental organization, people's movements, citizen forum, okay, the center will undertake efforts to sensitize the subject on the climate change and the need, the relevance for undertaking sustainable practices in not only in day-to-day life, but probably in terms of the various technologies that are being developed. It is normally said that whenever the scientists or engineers, whenever they work for development of a technology, they should always work with not only with environmental scientists, but even with social scientists, so that the social aspects of the utilization of those technologies or engineering designs could have been easily explored, and probably with that exploration, the engineering design and the technological practices, the process development could have been made more sustainable and green. Okay, so primarily, really we are expected to build the vibrant and dynamic strategic knowledge system on the climate change and the sustainable development itself. So with that reference, I hope this conference has made a real contribution in terms of really presenting, emanating recommendations on scientific and integrated approach on sustainable practices itself. So I congratulate the organizers and really say whatever the emanating recommendations that are emerging out of this conference. Probably the university will take lead so as to implement them at our main campuses as well as sub campuses, and at the same time the university would like to transfer probably the know-how, the research output, probably the developments related to sustainable technologies, even to the NGOs and the other organizations who are interested in working in a variety of the fields. Really, a few of them can be the one can think about as far as Mumbai itself is concerned, like unpredictable monsoon rainfall that causes flooding, the land used by the say the concrete build, say the concrete jungle, which has changed the topology of the Mumbai city, encroachment of the green spaces. Probably there are many issues which require sustainable solutions, and one needs to look at the entire system from a socio-economic dynamics, its impact on the climate emergency, and probably one need to have a right analysis and utilize those analysis for development of the integrated and scientific approach for sustainable practices. So once again, I congratulate the organizers, all the science departments, for coming together for one of the important cause, for one of the important issue, for one of the important the threat in which is all of which we are facing in terms of climate change, and really looking at the sustainable developments at a right moment. So I congratulate all the organizers and extend my best wishes to keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your graceful words about the conference. Now it's time to acknowledge and encourage our young talent by announcing the best poster and the best oral awards. I request convener of the conference, Professor Shivram Garje, to kindly announce the names of the winner. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sudesh. I am sure that the participants, particularly student participants, must be quite excited to hear this announcement. So first, I will announce the names of the poster winners, and also the students. You have to remember that even though your name do not appear in the list of winners, but your participation is more important. Winning is not that much. So let me first announce the winners of the poster presentations. So third award goes to Sardana Sagar, and the second goes to Varande Satyavan, and first award goes to Dalvi Yaswai. And we have also kept one award as a special appreciation, and it goes to Vanzari Aryan. So these are the awards for the poster presentations. And apart from this, we have 3 awards for the oral presentations. So third award goes to Mr. Santosh Ayodhya Mani. Second award goes to Mr. Divyesh S. Selar, and the first award goes to Mr. Guruling Bansyappa Todkar. So I congratulate all the winners on the on behalf of ICS 2022, and I wish all the best for their further career. And I also definitely do wish all the best for those whose name are not appearing over here. And as I said, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Basically, it is your presence which matters. And so, all the best for your research career ahead. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank
So
you,
this
sir.
over to you. Yeah.
And congratulations to all the winners and participants. Our team will be in touch with you regarding your certificates. So with this, we have come to the end of this valedictory function. On behalf of the entire conference, organizing team, I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards our chief guest, Dr. VNR Pillai sir, and chairperson of the today's function, Honorable Professor Ravindra Kulkarni sir, for sparing their invaluable time for us to grace this session. We are thankful to all the speakers, jury members, chairperson, session coordinators, and participants for making this event memorable. Our sincere thanks are due to our sponsors, Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, Grok Learning Private Limited, High Media Laboratories, BASF, and Samantha Enterprises for financial assistance. We are thankful to Mr. Parthasarthi Iyengar and his entire team from India Startup 360 for technical assistance and continuous support throughout the conference. Last but not the least, I would like to congratulate all the team members of the organizing committee for putting up a great show. Without their relentless efforts in the last couple of weeks, this conference wouldn't have been possible. I would like to thank them on behalf of everyone here for making this a successful event. Efforts on achieving sustainability should go on. This conference was just a small step towards it. Thank you. Thank you everyone for all the supports. I would now request everyone to rise for our national anthem.